US-born jihadist in Yemen has deadly potential to fill gap. Anwar al-Awlaki by James Blitz in London, an FT reporter in Sana'a, the capital of Yemen. As Western intelligence agencies try to predict the most likely author of an attack to avenge the death of Osama Binladen, Anwar al-Awlaki, a jihadist cleric in Yemen, can be expected to spring to mind. Since September the 11th, attacks on the US, Bin Laden has been associated in the public mind with Al Qaeda and global jihad. But US-born Mr. Alawi, 40 years of age, has been the suspected brains behind some of the most high-profile terrorist plots. Mr. Alawi, a leading figure in the group known as Al Qaeda in the Arab Peninsula, was believed to be the mastermind behind the attempted bombing of an aircraft over Detroit on Christmas Day in 2009. He is also suspected of organising the dispatch of parcel bombs concealed in cargo aircraft bound for Yemen to Chicago in October 2010. Airline bombs are not his only stock in trade, however. He has become a highly effective internet breacher, grooming people in Western states to carry out attacks. Such an attack was carried out by a woman with a knife on a British MP. Mr. Lakwi's online service radicalised a woman to attempt the murder of Stephen Timms, a former British cabinet minister, in a knife attack in May 2010, as I just said. Earlier this year, he emerged as the figure who had inspired a former British Airways employee to blow up an aircraft in an attack intended to kill hundreds of people. Mr. Lakwi is certainly the figure you now have to watch, says a security source. His main target is the US, but if he can cause mayhem in Britain or other Western states that would be fine by him too. Certainly, Mr. Lakwi is not the only figure of significance outside Al Qaeda in Afghanistan and Pakistan. The leader or emir of AQAP is Nasir al-Wasal Arshi, who is a close personal aide to Bin Laden in Afghanistan in the 1990s. But Mr. Wasal Arshi is thought by security officials to be more focused on fomenting attacks on Saudi Arabia, while Mr. Lakwi has maintained a more international focus. Because of the rift between the Yemenis bin Ladens and the Saudi Arabian crime family that runs Saudi Arabia, but the fractional nature of the Saudi Arabian crime family means that many of those are supporting the bin Ladens and may even go as high as the Saudi king himself. This seems to me unlikely. Intelligence chiefs, James Blitz continues, point out that Mr. Alaqui has two key advantages in carrying out plots against the West. First, he has access to sophisticated bomb-making equipment that can be concealed easily and is difficult for airport scanners to detect. You have the impression that he is in charge of a very small cell of people who are trying to be as innovative as possible, says a security source. Second, as the embattled government of Ali Abdul Salah, the president, draws towards an end because of the awakening of the Arab peoples to democracy in the Arab Spring. That's my opinion. Yemen is a state in the throes of deep political turmoil. Mr. Salah's opponents have long argued that he has not challenged Al Qaeda in the Arab Peninsula with sufficient vigour, partly because he has been battling other challenges to his rule. Diplomats from Western countries and the Gulf are also concerned that the growing swathes of ungoverned territory in Yemen will give Al Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, new freedom to carry out attacks. But frenetic attempts by the West to mediate a smooth transfer of power that have thus far met with little success. Security conditions are confusing and dangerous in the restive south of the country, where independent Islamist groups, secessionists and armed tribes live amongst tiny AlQueada in the Arabian Peninsula cells. The death of Bin Laden is unlikely to create much sadness among AlQueada in the Arabian Peninsula's followers. There is little in the way of direct communication between that organisation in Yemen and the one in Pakistan, says Dr. Murad Al-Azani, who studies Islamist groups at Sana's University. Bin Laden's personality didn't motivate them to carry out their activities. However, Osama Bin Laden's death will be a positive development for Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. The absence of an overall Al-Qaeda leader may increase the importance of the group's Yemeni wing. So, Al-Qaeda is the private army of the Bin Laden crime family, but its offshoots have gone back to its Yemeni roots of the Bin Laden crime family themselves. The Bin Laden crime family still are very strong. They have construction and oil companies which hold control over the oil spigot, and also much influence in the Islamic and Western banking systems by the threatening of Western bankers as well as Islamic bankers. So they still have hundreds of thousands of people working for them. What is certain is that they will not suffer the same fate as Bin Laden unless there is a real focused attempt by the West to finish this war the only way it could have been finished, and that is by an invasion of Saudi Arabia and an invasion of Yemen. I will now continue reading from the Financial Times.